Hey everyone, you are watching Real Talk with RJ. It's RJ here, and if you hear something in the background, it's my dishwasher. I'm washing all my dishes right now. So, just in case you were wondering what that sound is, but I want to just get right into it. I wanted to make this quick video in response to what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia this Saturday, just yesterday, the 12th. In Charlottesville, Virginia. Apparently, a group of white supremacist, Hitler wannabe neo-Nazi types were out there protesting with torches. They were heavily armed with weapons, and they were protesting against, I think, the monument of General Lee being moved to a different location. And a lot of bad stuff happened because when people in Charlottesville, Virginia that are not KKK and white supremacists came out to stand against this protest of hate and evil and racism, they were met with violence, and someone who is I'm guessing a white nationalist, alt-right, white supremacist supporter drove his vehicle into a crowd of people that were on the anti-KKK protest side. He drove his car into them. The last I heard, 3 people were confirmed killed from that incident, and I think 15 or 16, but don't quote me on that, but last I heard it was about 3 dead, 15 or 16 in the hospital in critical condition, which means, God forbid, there is the potential for them to also pass away because they're in critical condition. So I just wanted to make this video to give my condolences to the people in Charlottesville who had nothing to do with this hate and who lost their family members because of someone's hatred, bigotry, and stupidity. And thankfully, the guy who ran his car into the crowd, he is in police custody. He was arrested. And in my opinion, and I posted this up on my Facebook, a statement from Senator Ted Cruz of Texas. He's like, this guy should be punished as a domestic terrorist, the one who drove his car into the crowd of people, and I 100% agree. No matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, it doesn't matter. That was an act of terrorism to drive his vehicle into a crowd of people, and I absolutely agree with Senator Ted Cruz that he should be punished, and his case should be tried as if he is a domestic terrorist, because he is. And so Ted Cruz is urging the Justice Department to treat it as such. And so if you see anything like that on your Twitter or your Facebook, if you see that feed with an article from Ted Cruz about that, share it. Post it up on your Facebook. Post it up on your Twitter. Post it on, screenshot it, put it on your Instagram, all your social media sites. Let's get the word out here, because that man deserves to be prosecuted as a domestic terrorist. And then I want to get into, I tried for it to be a respectful conversation with the gentleman on my Facebook. I posted up something on my Facebook about, hey, these white supremacists need to go home. Yes, I understand they have a right to assemble and protest just like everybody else, but not when they're being violent. That's when the line is drawn, and that's when you cross the line and you've gone too far. And I also put on there that it's people like that, these white nationalists, it's people like that that make it almost impossible for our nation to fully heal from all the slavery, the slavery of the past, the racism of the past, the injustice and the bigotry. We need to move past it, but we can't until we heal. And we can't heal when you got jerks like these bunch of white men doing the Hitler salute, marching around with torches. Like, what are you trying to do with those torches? Are you going to go try to burn a cross in somebody's yard? Like, this is not, the 1960s, okay? Black Americans have all the rights as everybody else, and, like, what are you trying to do? I kept thinking in my mind, like, what is your goal? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish by acting like a bigoted fool? What are you trying to do? Okay, so a monument is moving. It's not being destroyed. It's not being torn down. It's moving. And look, I understand the argument that we can't tear down all our history just because people don't like it, because it represents something bad. Because history in itself is going to show good, bad, and ugly. I agree with that. And I don't think we should be, tearing down all of our historical stuff that reminds us of the horrible things we used to be a part of. We need to be reminded of it so that we're reminded to never do it again. But it was just moving to a different location. They weren't destroying the monument. So I don't understand. That couldn't have been the real underlying issue. I think it was a racist march and protest that ultimately resulted in severe violence. And it's just shocking to me. Like, we're not in the 1960s and 70s, y'all. It's 2017. Like, we're trying to move forward and heal as a nation. Why would you do something so stupid? Like, and who raised you to think that because you're white, you're somehow better than everybody else? Like, did you crawl out from under a rock? Like, I don't get it. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. But anyway, I had posted something like that up on my Facebook that, hey, it's because of, racist idiots like this that we cannot heal and truly move forward as a nation and with civility toward everyone. And I had this guy, post on and he's not even on my friends list. I don't even know who he is. He posted a comment to my post and was like, where are you calling out the Black Lives Matter when they were doing their violence? Okay, well, first of all, Jack, you don't know me. And yes, when there were violent protests and looting and rioting and stuff like that being done by the BLM movement, I said something about it. I said on my post to the Black Lives Matter movement, you're not helping yourself by beating people up and destroying members of your own community's businesses. You're not helping yourself. And as soon as you cross the line of violence, I dismiss you. You no longer have nothing good to say. As soon as you cross that threshold of being violent and breaking the law, no. And I've said that repeatedly. But that's not what Saturday was about. Saturday was about white supremacist racists. So when I see that, I'm going to call that out. I'm going to take it on a case-by-case basis. I'm going to treat each thing individually. And that was my response to that guy. And then he came back, because I shut him down with common sense, logic, and reason, he came back and resorted to name calling. He told me that I'm brain dead and that I have no common sense. I'm like, first of all, sir, I am college educated, have a master's degree. Not only am I book smart, but I have a good job. I'm a successful person. I take care of myself. I pay my bills. I'm financially stable, and I do a lot of things to try to help in my community. But beyond that, I have good old-fashioned common sense. I was raised by people who taught me common sense and who taught me how to think for myself. And that just because everybody else was jumping off off the bridge didn't mean that I have to do it. So just because the whole world is going crazy doesn't mean that I have to. And I will always stand for the truth. And the truth of the matter about the situation on Saturday is that there is still a small percentage of people in our country, clearly, who are just racist. And it's incredibly sad. Incredibly sad. And people talk about all the, the purity of the white race and keeping the white race. Okay, let's get something clear. We are one race, and that's the human race. We have different ethnicities, different nationalities, different cultures, but we are one race, the race of humanity. And when we start to put that in our mind, instead of allowing our minds to be plagued by Darwinian thought that the Anglo-Saxon race is superior to all the others and that all the races need to be kept separate, that originated with Charles Darwin, who was an evil man. Okay? So once we get his thinking that we've been brainwashed with since the late 1800s in this country and in other places in the world, when we start to get that out of our head and start embracing a biblical worldview, we see that we are one race. When in Genesis with the Tower of Babel, it doesn't talk about the table of races. It talks about the table of nations. Okay? God scattered to create nations. He never meant for us to not commingle with each other or to not intermarry with each other. Okay? He told his people don't marry the surrounding nations. Why? They were pagan people that were sacrificing their children to worship the gods. Of course he's going to tell them don't marry these people. They're psycho. They don't follow the one true God. That's why he told them that, not because of purity of the races. Dude, Jesus himself, okay, in his lineage was Rahab the harlot, who was a non-Israelite. Okay? And that's just one person in the lineage leading down to Jesus Christ that was not an actual Hebrew by blood. Okay? So let's get over ourselves a little bit here. Let's stop thinking that because my skin tone is this or because I'm this, that, or the other that I'm better than you. And I shut this guy down, and I was polite as I could possibly be, but I shut him down. I said, look, if you're going to come and try to question me on something that I say, do not come with emotions or name calling, because I'm going to shut that down. Come with the truth, come with facts, come with logic, reason, and common sense. If you come to me in that regard, I can have a conversation with you. When you start name calling because I pointed out all the holes in the stupid stuff you were saying, come on. And that really frustrated me. And of course this guy was white. It's like, why, in my opinion, non-violent black Americans should have called out the Black Lives Matter movement when they started getting violent and looting their own cities. Non-violent black people should have called them out. Similarly, non-violent, non-racist white people need to call out these white nationalists who protested on Saturday. And I am not ashamed to do it. I'm not afraid to do it. They're a bunch of bigoted, racist, and you know what? That comes from a heart of sin, which we are all born with. And let me say something to my fellow black Americans here. I'm sorry for that protest. That was uncalled for. It was horrible and awful. Okay? I want to say that. But I also want to admonish you. I want to admonish you to don't let yourself think that all white people think that way, or act that way, or secretly like closet racist. No, we're not all like that. Okay? So please don't allow what happened to make you think that way of all white people. Because when you do, when you put that blanket statement over white people that, yep, they're all just a bunch of closet racists who, want to join the KKK and all this. When you make that kind of blanket statement and stereotype, you're moving into the realm of being just as racist as the white supremacists. So let's all call each other out on both sides. Take it on a case-by-case basis. When you see something being done by black people that is violent and racist, call them out. And on the other side, when I see something done by white people that is violent and racist and unlawful, I'm going to call them out. And I think if we both do that and find our common ground and teach ourselves to look at each scenario as an individual event, then we can come together and truly together stand and fight and combat, not physically fight, but ideologically fight, and with our votes fight specific instances of racism, just like what happened Saturday. But don't make this broad blanket statement that all white Americans are racist and that all police are awful and that no, because that's not true. And when you make a statement like that, you're being just as racist. You're heading down that path of being racist just like the ones that you are accusing of being racist. So let's take each thing as a case-by-case basis. But I want to make this video to say, look, we need to stand up for the truth, and we need to call people out for when they're doing some stupid, crazy crap that is evil and awful and violent and ungodly. We need to stand up for what is right. And I will do that till the day I die. I don't care who gets mad at me. I don't care. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And what happened Saturday was all kinds of wrong. And these men and perhaps women that were out there making their Hitler signs and carrying their torches, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And you need to fall on your face and repent and ask God to replace your racist heart of stone with a heart of flesh so that you can love your fellow man. Until next time, be praying for Charlottesville. This is a sad, sad thing. And I couldn't even imagine if something like that happened here in my city where I live. I would be devastated. So please pray for them. Pray for the law enforcement, and pray for the religious leaders. Pray for the pastors and the churches in this city, because now is the time for them to stand up in unity and fight this kind of racism with love, okay? Because good and love conquers hate and evil. Until next time, God bless you.